Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. I'm here with Hal Sparks. You know, I mentioned, how diverse your resume is. I didn't realize, you did Talk Soup.
Yep.
And you did Queer as Folk. I totally forgot about that. That was 6 years that was on.
Yeah.
On Showtime, right?
Yeah.
Sort of ahead of its time, right?
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Definitely.
I mean, arguably, it was, we expected so much backlash on the show.
Right.
And we certainly got some. I got death threats. We got all these
Did you
weird.
really?
Oh, yeah, totally. People, the people calling themselves the American Taliban, that crowd, are always going to throw acid in our faces.
What a wonderful crowd.
Oh, they're lovely.
Hey, we're the American Taliban. Yeah. Great. Come on over for a barbecue.
Right, yeah. So, right-wing Christians who are going to kill us for doing something for freedom.
Right.
Anyways, but ultimately we got a lot less of it than we thought, and I think it was because the show had so much sex and nudity in it that it scared them off. Like, it's one thing to watch Will and Grace and go, they're supporting all these, blah, blah, and then write your letters and show up.
Whoa.
Yeah, at this point they're like, I can't. What? And they either and if you're, they've done study after study that if you really, really hate gay people, you probably are one.
Yeah, right.
And have just turned on yourself.
Yeah,
if you really care that much.
You start to sweat.
Yeah, right.
It's so much.
You're Larry Craig, and you're like, I am not gay. I have never been gay.
Right, exactly.
Except for the pictures and what happened in the bathroom.
Well, no, there's a fine line between, right, exactly. You know how close it is for a guy to be really mad, yelling at a gay man, going, I hate you.
Right.
You're right. You're almost right there.
Right. Yeah, because I think if you're comfortable in your sexuality, you can just kind of lay back and it's cool. You do your thing, I'll do my thing.
It shouldn't mean that much.
No. And so we were lucky that way, I think.
What do you think on that front is going to happen with you think at the NFL can take someone coming out? You think it can survive something like that?
You know what? I think so. I mean, as many. My girlfriend's a huge football fan.
Right.
As many women as I know who love football and are massive football fans who have no problem with it whatsoever.
Right.
Yes, you will get fans that have a problem with it because their entire, whether they have dad issues or machismo issues.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, they're
a lot of dad issues with hardcore. Yeah,
right. And if you're hanging your masculinity on some other dude's ability to run a ball down a field, you have bigger fish to fry than the fact that
it's going to be a frustrating existence on some level.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a lot easier than people think. And I think, Jason Collins, very much opened a door. But it was interesting when you see all these things, the first gay athlete and the first one, like, not by any stretch. And we kid ourselves. It's like, don't ask, don't tell in the military or whatever. There have been hundreds of thousands of gay people who have fought and died for their country, protecting a freedom they didn't have themselves, which is kind of amazing. I mean, if you look at why Muhammad Ali didn't go to Vietnam, lost his boxing license, was because he was saying the government doesn't treat black people, at a level where I'm going to go fight for their right to not treat black people well. Exactly. It doesn't make any sense to me.
There's so many ironies in the whole Muhammad Ali thing.
Right, but then gay people haven't had that choice because the closet aspect has kept it hidden. Everybody knows your color. You can see it.
No, you're right. It's and every race, a gay person can be of any race.
Yeah.
So you don't know where your allegiance is. Sometimes it's the hardest thing ever. It is the last frontier of discrimination. It's the last thing that really has to be dealt with.
And I think it's happening faster because I think the vast majority of people are just over it.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a lot invested in it. And the nice thing is I think we've just become so self-involved as a culture.
Right.
We don't have time for true bigotry. I mean, you have to really set up an organization.
No, that's what. When you see some of these people, hate groups, whatever you want to call them, and they're organized, you're like, where do you have time
for this? Right.
Like, I mean, you must be so independently wealthy where you have time to get a meeting together.
Every time I watch a Law and Order episode where they use the guy is in the middle of a pickup game of basketball. I am stunned that people have time to have pickup games of basketball. I know they exist.
Listen, I can't make it to a softball game.
Right, exactly.
My buddies are in a softball league. I can't make it to a game anymore.
But you're all going to print the same shirt and show up at a soldier's funeral. And you have what? I mean,
how dare you?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is they're not getting invited to a lot of other outings.
No, that's true. They have a lot of free time.
They have a lot of free time.
A lot of hate group guys don't have anything else to do. It's a good point.
Yeah. They're not even welcome on the internet. I mean, when the internet is bored of you.
You mentioned George Carlin and we talked about Muhammad Ali, and this is off topic. It just reminds me of, I want to say this joke, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Of course.
About Muhammad Ali, you know.
I don't want to kill people.
Right.
If you don't kill people, we won't let you beat them up.
George Carlin had this amazing bit where he pointed out the irony of Muhammad Ali said his religion wouldn't let him kill people. And, you know, they took away his boxing license. And the government's saying, look, if you don't kill people, we're not going to let you beat people up. I don't want to kill people. I just want to beat them up.
Right.
Well, if you don't kill them, we're not going to let you beat them up. No, I know. That's a perfect stand-up joke. That's a perfect stand-up comedy joke. The best one ever written, I think.
Yeah.
That one joke.
Yeah, well, I mean, the greatest BS story ever told, which is his diatribe on religion.
The religion, that's amazing.
Is the most perfectly concise.
Yeah.
And that's actually the mechanic that as a writer, when I'm doing stand-up, I work to achieve. Like, when I wrote this, The Tougher of the Two, which is about the vagina or the penis being tough or whatever, that was in my special Charmageddon.
Right.
I wrote that as like kind of a mechanical homage to Carlin, in that I was like, I want to write something that is the last word on it.
Right.
You know, that you can...
No, well, that bit, you're right. When you listen to that, that's the argument. Disagree with it, agree or not, like, that is the best argument with it. Because when he does that great George Carlin term, where he goes, but when it comes to
right,
you have to be in awe.
Of
organized
religion.
Well, it takes a guy brought up strict Catholic on the in white Harlem, Irish Catholic, you know, and Catholic schools and stuff, and just that hammered into his head.
Oh yeah. Well, he had, you know, the school he went to while it was Catholic was this kind of Jesuits letting the kids run wild kind of a thing.
Right.
It was arguably a Catholic version of the Montessori system.
Yeah.
They just let them explore. And there was a really interesting study that was just done that people who have highly individual personalities, people who are actually interesting, have their own point of view in a very definitive way.
Which Carlin was the epitome of.
Had the least amount of direct structure as a kid.
Right. It makes sense to me in a way. But, you know, did you read Last Words by him?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just his childhood. Like, obviously an interesting guy, but you don't realize how interesting his background was.